Hello folks, we're standing here on the corner of Ortega Highway and Camino Capistrano. This is where the historic Mission San Juan Capistrano is, and we're going to have a visit today with Executive Director Mechelle Lawrence-Adams. She's going to tell us a little bit about the mission and also unveil to us a very historic painting. Come on in. Well, Mechelle, you are the executive director here at the mission, which I would have to think is a pretty big job. You're overseeing one of the most historical places here in Orange County, if not California.
It is so much fun to serve as the director of the mission. We have 65 employees, over 300 volunteers. It's a job that's more of a lifestyle job. I kind of think of it that way. We have about a day that starts around 6 in the morning because we have to get ready for Sarah Chapel Mass, which is a tradition that happens every day at 7 o'clock. And then we have private events in the evening, and in between all of that, we're a hospitality place of education and inspiration and preservation. So we have about half of our visitors come from out of state every day, and of that, half of those come from out of the country. So on any given day, we could have an international crisis if we don't do the right thing when we welcome our guests, which we're really focused on, giving the best customer service from the little ones to the older ones. And then we have a lot of military that come here, and we take that really seriously, that we're a place where people will maybe say goodbye to their loved ones before they go off to service.
And you also do a lot of events here. In fact, the day that we're here in the back here, they're setting up for events. I think this might be a fundraiser you're doing today. But can people come here and set up their own events if they'd like?
Well, we have several different kinds of events at the mission. Being a cultural heritage landmark, cultural tourism is really important. So we get the kind of visitors that want to have events with their corporate clients and will rent the mission, working with a local hotel partnership like the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel or St. Regis or one of our partners. And they'll have a private event here. So those happen all the time. Definitely can do that. Then we have our own signature events. And as an economic driver for our downtown sustainability, we try to develop events that create cross-generational, meaningful moments, celebrate music and diversity, and then also send people back into the broader walkable downtown environment. So it's not like we have a private party and then we just want to do it in the walls. We actually think that the private party has the ability to bring more people back into town and actually rent the mission. But there's a limit to how many events we have because we also are a place of education and worship. And we are a place where people come for hope and inspiration. And that's kind of something you can't put a dollar value on. But I know when I'm working with people that have cancer that stop here, that we have to preserve those moments that are inspirational for them as well.
And people may not realize that you're self-sustaining here. You're not part of the national park system or the California State Park or regional park. You depend on the visitors that come here, on private donations, and you also depend on the many volunteers that work here as well.
If we had to pay our 300 volunteers, the doors would close. They actually are our life force of extending the staff. But really, how we stay open is exactly right. We're completely independent financially from the church, although we are owned by the diocese. We try to keep our admission rates low, and how we're able to do that now is with our new store that's fabulous and being very successful, but also through our membership program. We have about 10,000 individual persons that now support our membership. It's grown from $17,000 in annual support to $360,000 in annual support. And that goes right back into the mission. It pays for our preservation department. It pays for things like mortar and bricks and adobe. We make a lot of our adobe on site when we do repairs. And we try to have the human spirit touch the walls as opposed to everything being fabricated by some big machine. So, for me, it is about sustainability, but also durability. Landmarks like this aren't stones and bones. They're places of meaning and places that were built by people that came before us. So we're not the only ones. I'm not like the queen bee of the mission. There are people that we need to respect and their families that, have been married and died here and buried. And then there's people that are yet to be born, and we want to make sure this landmark is here to welcome those future generations. So while we're all here as an organization, we try to have stewardship in our hearts and our minds and our focus. And those things you can't measure in dollars, but I think if we do our job right, we'll have things to show, like a preserved building or a painting or an element of history that we can celebrate.
And speaking of painting, I understand that Mechelle told us that she has a very special painting you want to show us, something that is just being unveiled, and we're going to be one of the first to see it, right?
Oh, it's so exciting. So, if you're not Catholic, what you need to know first is that all Catholic churches have a thing called a Stations of the Cross painting collection, and it's the journey of Christ through the crucifixion. And what it does is it was meant for the people that didn't read to explain the biblical story. And so there are historic paintings. Well, in our historic mission in the Sarah Chapel, which is the most historically significant chapel in all of California, there was a painting that was made in 1800. And in 1973, it was covered up by a replica painting by a then young artist who thought he was going to do a little bitty painting. He had no idea it was going to be this giant painting when he showed up. He was about 22 years old then, and he painted a copy of it, and over time people forgot about the 200-year-old painting. And so as we were doing the Sarah Chapel Preservation Project in 2005 to 2008, we noticed that there was this edge on the painting that extended beyond the framework, but we didn't have enough money to actually explore it. So last year during National Preservation Month, we did an exploration and we really took a risk. It was called Preservation in Action. We brought a conservator out and we lifted the overpainting. We didn't know what we were going to find. And it was a very emotional moment because it was a reveal. We could have had an Al Capone's vault experience,
Yeah.
where Geraldo Rivera opens the
Yeah.
vault, there's nothing in there. And no offense to Geraldo Rivera, but I was really nervous about that. But in a moment of great glory for this site, we found the crucifixion, the depiction of the crucifixion of Christ, in a historic painting that, even though it was in very bad repair, it was reversible. And this painting that was hid behind dated to 1800, but everybody lost track of that. And the community that prayed here and worshiped here, married, had funerals, they all substituted that replica painting as the one that was original in their mind's eye. So that became their painting of choice. But last year in Preservation Month, we decided to explore that opportunity, as I was explaining earlier, and we investigated it and hired a conservator to help us remove the overpainting. We really, Ken, did not know what we were going to find. In fact, we were praying that we would find something because, with all the years that had been covered, it could have been lost, the image could have been lost. And we were really pleased to find out, because of the adobe walls and the temperature and the humidity just being just about right, that the painting canvas art was pretty much stabilized. We didn't lose a lot, but it was really wrinkly and dirty and saggy because the canvas had not had a good backing or stretcher support system behind. So it just got droopy. It's like having really drapes that have been up for 40 years and never been never maintained. So the painting looked much worse than it really was, and we hired a conservator. We went through an interview process and landed on this great team out of Santa Barbara that had Spanish colonial paint experience. And they took the painting last December, and through private donations and funds, which we raised about $57,000 to put in a new lighting system, a new backing, stretcher, to protect the back so that if we had little mice back there, they wouldn't eat the canvas. And also the support system is made of metal versus wood because it had termite damage, and the bugs wanted to make little homes in it. So we didn't want anything that could get to the canvas. Then they cleaned the top of the canvas, stabilized the canvas where it was stretching out, pulled it tight, and made sure that they put a varnish over it to protect it for the future so that nobody could hurt the painting in the future. What we ended up finding was the painting was bigger than what we had been seeing for 40 years because the bottom of the canvas had been wrapped around and hidden.
Wow.
When we unfolded that, the conservator and our team found the signature of the artist, the 1800 date, and we also found the scroll that sits above Jesus' head, which is in 3 different languages, that has a statement about Jesus being the King of Jews. And so it was really important when we went to return the painting to the Sarah Chapel to not hide those things again. So our team made the decision to reveal the artist's original work and not put it back the way we found it, but to actually extend the framing, make it longer on the sides, and lower the bar on the bottom so that we could reveal the entire painting. You see, as stewards, we really want to get back to what the artist's original intent was. And it was supposed to be an evangelical experience, that it would inspire. And we hope, I truly believe this, that even if you're not Catholic, you can come to this chapel and find peace or hope or inspiration. And now that this painting is so gorgeous, maybe when we're feeling like a painting that needs a little bit of inspiration, we can be restored too. So that's the mission's really relevant as a place. And I use the painting symbolically, that where people can find their spirit renewed. We're really proud to bring this painting, after its absence for 40 years, back into the public arena and appreciation. And then that other painting, we've cleaned that one up, And we hope to bring that out for public's enjoyment because it has its own story now.
Yeah,
And that painter is still alive, and he showed up as a senior citizen, and now he's a friend of the mission, and he says he's just so happy. So we want to celebrate Mr. Maldonado. In his unique way, he was a steward of this mission.
Yeah.
Because if his painting hadn't been in front of that old one, who knows what would have happened. So he was just protecting it for the right generation to get here to save it and bring it back to the public.
That's wonderful. And I want to thank you for inviting us here. I know this has just recently been unveiled, and we're one of the first that get to see it. And, you know, folks, come on down here and see what is it, about 214
years old.
214-year-old work of art that is just part of the heritage of this mission. And then soon you'll be able to have the other one once that's restored, that people can see that as well. Maybe that's the one they remember.
Right.
You can come on down and see both of them.
We have a lot of projects that we're going to be continuing to deliver to the community in preservation. And we just invite people to look at our website, see what's up. And if they have any questions, they can call me or anybody on my team. We're happy to help out.
All right, and thank you very much for having us here again.
Thank
Remember, folks, they're always looking for volunteers. What a great opportunity to come on down here, maybe teach some younger kids, take them around on these tours, or maybe even other seniors, take them around as well, and show them the historical significance of not only Mission San Juan Capistrano, but the city in the downtown area here as well. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.